Hey everybody, this is Rob Gauthier. Welcome to the Patreon exclusive content. Hey everybody, Rob Gauthier here. This is what you've been waiting for, the Patreon exclusive poll. We have taken the poll, we've got it all locked in and shut down, and what you guys wanted to talk about, or have us talk about, is in-depth meditation techniques. We are going to have Aridif channel about this subject, and Kalina is going to reflect with some of her own questions that she gets from what Treb and Aridif are saying, and questions that we hear from the voice of everyone. What we're going to do is under this video on your Patreon account, every subject that you want to hear about next month for our July Patreon account, we want you to put that information right down. We want you to ask your questions, and we're going to take all the questions that we can and put them on next month's poll so that you can vote for it. You guys choose what we're channeling about from this poll channeling, and we're going to do at least one of these a month. We're hoping it goes from 30 to 60 minutes and maybe more. We'll see how it goes, guys. We love you with all of our hearts, and we're going to get some real one subject focus in-depth channeling for you right now. Artist's going to come in, and we'll see you on the other side. Greetings to you all. This is Aridif, that is Aridif, and this is its spell. Before diving into your query about in-depth meditation, we wish to express yet two things. The first thing, as always, above and beyond all things expressed within this day, in our perspective, to know, to feel, and to perceive that you are loved is of the greatest use. Secondly, we wish to express our own great excitement to have co-created both this moment and all future moments of this specific interaction with you. Now, we will dive into this concept of in-depth meditation. But before going into the in-depth part, we must ask the question, concept, what is meditation? What are the techniques and mechanics behind this? What is the energy behind meditation? By doing this, we express that meditation is a concept that is human in nature, although many races utilize meditation or meditative styles of techniques. Meditation for humanity is quite unique to humanity itself. Many races have taught humanity certain techniques in how to utilize meditation for the benefit of themselves, for the benefit of the collective, or for the benefit of those specific entities in the way that they connect those humans or humans upon a collective concept. Knowing this, we will express to you what exactly the meditation is in our own perspective. Meditation, by our own definition, is gaining access to the alignment that is already within you, to remove the resistance that is learned both vibrationally and through actions of those around you, that you learn in a mental capacity, that you learn in an emotional capacity, and that you learn in a vibrational capacity. All of those resistances being removed in a moment clarifies your own energy. It clarifies your emotional, mental, and physical body. That alignment is meditation itself. Going into the in-depth portion of meditation, the in-depth process in our perspective is quite less definable than the idea of meditation itself. The in-depth portion is quite different. Individually, each of you perceive, consider, and define in-depth in quite a different way. For instance, when Rob speaks of in-depth meditation as it pertains to his own energy, what he means is going into a deep trance. Yet, when someone who is working in a less deep capacity of trance-style meditation, their in-depth is a mindfulness meditation, one in where their own mind is open to thought processes, their mental body, and their emotional reflexes. Those entities perceive in-depth much differently than Rob. So, the question we would ask you is to define in your own perspective what in-depth meditation means. By in-depth meditation, by definition of our own definition and within the definition of itself, it means to be at the deepest level of that alignment within yourself, and that resistant free arena that you can carry as you can be. And there are many techniques that you can utilize for this. First of all, looking at the breathing process. This, in our own perspective, is one of the greatest importances when it comes to mindfulness, meditative techniques, when it comes to trance meditation techniques, or when it comes to that style of meditation in where you sit and breathe and relax and open yourself for all other experiences. Those who are psychic have intuitive openness within their own concept, but it all starts with breathing. Now, breathing in our perspective, as we've expressed, is very important to many beings, yet even this can vary in meditation techniques that have been shared across the Earth Collective, but also that have been brought forward from other races. Let us give you our own perspective about breathing, and then we will define a few other breathing categories. In our perspective, to breathe inward from the nose, filling the entire chest and lungs with breath, in a complete, steady, and deep breath. It's very important. Our own example is this. And once your lungs are filled, once your chest is filled with air, there is no stopping between. As soon as it is filled, then the air is released. And we will give you an example such as this. All of the air is released from the lungs and chest, and even your stomach for those who breathe deeper. And in that concept, you are deflating entirely your lungs. You are alleviating yourself of all the air. So to continuously flow is the greatest concept in our own mind with this breathing technique. And we will show you what this looks like in what we have defined as the breathing circuit. And the reason we call this the breathing circuit is it is a perpetual looping of energy. Just as your electrical current circuits, it is consistently going forward and moving in a circular or non-stoppable rate. In our perspective, the more that you allow this circuit to move, the higher the energy within yourself, the more accessible the chakra energy is to yourself, and the more in alignment you are with yourself. By doing this, you can tap into your emotional, energetic, mental, auric field, and chakra bodies. We will give you this example of a full breathing circuit now. With that breathing circuit, looping, ever going, no stopping, there is no resistance in the breath. And why is the breath important? Yes, we've expressed to you, it creates a loop or an energy or a circuit of breathing. But why is that important energetically? What about the breath creates this energy? First of all, understanding what the breath is very important, deeply. The nature of what breathing is for the human consciousness is vital to understand. When you are breathing in air, you are breathing in life. And when you breathe in life, you are creating and co-creating with the Earth Collective Consciousness itself. Mother Earth, or Gaia, as most of you call this, is an energy that is purely a manifestation of the entire Earth Collective Consciousness, meaning that every elemental consciousness rock, electricity, air, fire. Every animal, tree, bacteria, anything that you perceive as a living being is part of the Earth collective consciousness. Every human consciousness, from the beginning of time until the end of mankind, and all higher dimensional forms of mankind, are part of the human collective consciousness. When you are breathing in air, you are breathing in the very first elemental layer of consciousness in the Earth created, co-created, and collective consciousnesses. When you breathe in the air, you are taking the fundamental building block elemental air collective consciousness into your physical body. The breath itself sustains. The breath itself creates the oxygen within your blood that allows your heart to go. As you all know, the heart is the organ that is the representation of your heart chakra, hence the name heart chakra. Why is this important? The heart is the center of your circulatory system. It is the part of your own energy that feeds and gives nutrition to all of the rest of your physical body. The oxygen within your blood that breathe in from your lungs, that transmutes itself into energy and oxygen in the blood, allows you to sustain your physical presence, allows you to co-create upon the greatest level of life. This is something that is not just the Earth collective consciousness. There are many different breaths from many different collectives. Each of those breaths different. Some created in nitrogen, some created in carbon monoxide, others with carbon dioxide, others with gases that are poisonous to human collective consciousness. Sulfuric gases can be breathed by some entities and created as their own circuit of life. By bringing forward that Earth collective consciousness, air elemental, and giving that nutrition and vitality to your physical body, it creates all cycles within. Every larger cycle within your body, your circulatory system, your muscular system, your skeletal system, your digestive system, your nerve system, from your brain down to the brain stem, into your spine, and throughout each nerve of your physical body, is utilizing that sustained energy of your breath. It gives you the nutrition just as food or just as eating does. This is why those who carry no resistance within them are able to breathe and to drink water and survive without food. This is why many entities in the higher dimensions do not utilize food. That breath of life is what sustains them. This is not just the Earth collective that breathes, but it is the Earth collective that sustains itself with the breath of life in the version and the way that humanity does. Now, understanding the breathing portion energetically and physically, we must express the mechanisms in which it co-creates with your energetic body. When you are looking at your energetic body, there are several different layers. There is your auric field, there is the chakra system, there is the emotion and mental bodies that all of you carry, and there are several thousand more layers, but those are the ones that are both most appropriate for you and most understandable to most human minds. When you look at your emotional body, that also is controlled by the breathing process. That also has a very high connotation to coincide with the style of breathing in which you are working with. Think about when you are happy. Breathing is not even thought about. When you are relaxed, breathing is deep and slow. When you are furious, mad, or anxious, your breathing is fast and unstable. Your emotional body does not dictate the breath, but it co-creates with the breath, one using the energy of the other and co-creating with it. Notice that if you start breathing randomly and very quickly, you can feel the emotion of panic coming into you. Also, when you are in a panic state, if you start breathing slow, it can calm you down. It is the center of your emotional body. That is why your heart chakra is directly connected. Your third chakra utilizes it much more than any other besides the heart, and your first and second can be grounded with that energy. When you are breathing in that air and releasing it in a slow, steady, and conscious state, you are truly grounding yourself into that energy of the Earth Collective, because you are using its wind elemental consciousness, and you are breathing out the sustaining life forces for those second density plant beings around you. You are co-creating upon that level. This is a small portion of the breath, but we wish to express those concepts to you so that it is better understandable. Now we look into other concepts, meditation. As you are aware, there are infinite versions of meditation. In our perspective, breathing at the center of all of them, as we have stated, but there are also breathing techniques that utilize the difference in breathing. For instance, those who are understanding of dragon breathing or fast breathing, a force that Rob himself utilizes when connecting to Treb Bor Yit NE in the last few seconds of Rob's conscious mind before going in to a deep trance state, astrally projecting and connecting to Treb Bor Yit NE's energy as Treb Bor Yit NE comes into his physical body. That specifically is rounded for Treb Bor Yit NE's energy because of the conscious state that happens. Now, as we've expressed, when you are breathing randomly and quickly, it can cause panic. But if you are breathing with intent and breathing fast, gaining access to the oxygen quickly and releasing it quickly, you are able to start going into the higher chakra systems. You are starting to tap into your heart, throat, third eye, and crown, while breathing slow and steady connects you into your lower chakras. This higher energy and higher breathing system would appear to you as this. When utilizing this, you can become ungrounded in certain ways. You are starting to go into your etheric realm. Why is this different than the grounding processes of the breathing deep? First of all, the quick release. You are picking up and letting go of energy quickly. What is the earth below you? It is a steady and rock energy. It is a hard earth energy. And when we say earth, we do not mean the planetary consciousness. We mean the elemental rocks and ground below you. Those are solid and steady, just like your long breath. While air and ether, electricity, are those that are much quicker, much more intensified, and go into the higher chakras. First, understanding your chakra system is vital in this state. In the center, your heart chakra. Most humans perceive the chakra system to be in one way or another. We will tell you our own perspective in how we see humans interact with their chakra systems. First of all, the root chakra and your crown chakra is where your energies enter. They start going from one side to the other, from the bottom upwards and from the top downwards, simultaneously. The Earth Collective Consciousness, Mother Earth, from the ground itself gives you the Earth energy, and as it goes up towards your heart chakra, the etherical grid energy, or the electromagnetic ley lines that lie above your head, some entities call this the dragon lines or ley lines, that is the etheric energy, that is made of ether, the element of ether. That energy goes down from the crown chakra into your heart. So both of these energies go through your chakras. Going through your first and seventh chakra, it does not interact with the chakra itself. It utilizes it more so as a negative battery post in your car, or a negative wire within your electrical system. It grounds the energy, but it does not directly interact with that specific circuit. Then it goes through the second and sixth, then the third and fifth, again without interacting with any chakra. then both of those energies ignite, going into and touching the heart chakra. At that point, the energy ignites. Once ignited, it redistributes itself in the same way it receives it, both up and down, going back into the etheric grid and back into the earth itself. When your chakra system works in this way, utilizing the dragon breath keeps your energy from your heart chakra and above, mostly in the third eye and crown. You are tapping into your etheric nature. You are tapping into the ether. It is not only the lack of oxygen going to your brain that creates a dizziness, but even once you recreate your breath, you can still feel the light inversion from your body. Most of you understand the version and nature of human consciousness when you have those who are deeply grounded, who can go through day to day without much bothering them, who understand the mechanics of being a human. And you have those who are in their higher chakras, who are very etheric in their own perspective. They are less likely to dive into their mental body and more so into the etherical nature of their chakra system, their heart, their own third eye and crown, throat, when those who are creating from the grounded are going in first, second, third, and fourth. When you understand the nature of that energy, then you understand both how you yourself ground to it and how any of those etherical energies can co-create with you. The ideal for the chakra system to be at its perfect setting is to allow yourself to redistribute in the same way, with no resistance in all of the chakras that it leaves the heart going up and down. Those who have more of an etheric nature to themselves, their higher chakras are more open and active, their lower chakras more closed, and vice versa for those who are grounded. When you utilize meditation, you are trying to create an equal thermal equilibrium within yourself. By doing this, or let us say an equal etheric equilibrium within yourself, and as you start working from that place, then you are able to access both the grounded nature of the human consciousness and the etheric nature of your etheric consciousness, such as star seeds mostly create upon the earth collective. When you are utilizing both of them, then you are able to properly channel, then you are able to properly connect to other consciousness, your intuition, your higher self, or just feel in a more complete way. There are many forms of meditation. We will dive into those at a later point. We will take your queries now.
Thank you very much, Aridif,
Yes.
for that demonstration, and for the breathing techniques. Just for the clarity, I noticed you're going in the nose, out the mouth, right? In the nose, out the mouth for most of those.
Yes, for all of them, in fact.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, the first thing that I want to ask on behalf of everyone is, as we know, our world is, and our people, all of us, we're very busy, and we can get easily distracted, and we have all kinds of things pulling our attention, not just like, the world of advertising and entertainment, but we also have very busy lives. We've got, the single mother with her 3 kids, or the parents with a very busy family, and people who are working and going to school and they have kids, or whatever it is. We're all, have very busy lives. Even I at one point was going to college and working and had no days off for a year. So
Yes.
people often have the belief that in order to get connected to enlightenment, to be able to channel or connect with the higher self, one has to have copious amounts of meditation. And I feel that at one time there might have been some truth to that to some people, but it just feels like there's been a speeding up with what we have access to, especially with all the shifting. And it would be wonderful to kind of have an update on what those tools of meditation are, and how we can help ourselves, especially during those times of distraction, finding those little 5 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there if we have it. I know some of you listening, it's, you've really had to carve out your time to even watch this, which we appreciate deeply. But I just wanted to find out on behalf of all of us what we can do as a form, a tool of meditation when we are going through times of distraction or busyness.
Yes, first of all, we will cover your idea of the shift and how it has occurred and the difference between the older versions of meditation and the newer. Then we will work upon the different versions of meditation that are occurring. First of all, meditation, we are never advising against not utilizing large portions of time for meditation if that excites you. But you are correct. As you enter the fourth density, meditation is not less important, but the way in which you meditate is much different. In the older version of consciousness, because you are upon the lower third density to the mid third density to the higher third density, you had to start focusing your own energy and your own self. Through the belief systems of human consciousness, many humans did not believe that they could achieve in third density or at the level that they were any form of openness, any form of resistance-free energy, or any form of intuition without utilizing large hours of meditation. But even then this was not true. The belief system carried through all of the years of humanity when meditation was first understood as a fundamental tool that it was necessary to utilize in order to gain access. But meditation takes its form in many different ways, and in this now moment, more importantly than ever, the acceleration of consciousness growing into the fourth density allows you to create even new forms of meditation in each moment. First of all, when we express that meditation comes in many forms, we did not only mean the form of meditation that most humans define it by, that sitting down and breathing process. Meditation comes in literally infinite amounts of ways. Many humans utilize yoga as a technique. Many humans utilize artistic form, exercise, even watching certain movies as a form of meditation. This is how you fight your scheduling. This is how you create a lack of fight within that what was previously perceived as a fight against your schedule. There is no need to carve out hours to meditate. You can meditate literally in seconds. In this now moment, each of you, close your physical eyes with me in this moment. 30 seconds. Breathing in your circuit, in your nose, out your mouth. It does not have to be completely deep or steady, just a normal breathing pattern. And express to your own mindset, I am free, I am happy in this moment to be here. I am open for communication, I am open to receiving intuition. I am complete. In that process, you have already meditated. In the few seconds that it took us to express this and to breathe with you, you have already meditated. Now we understand this is not suffice or does not satiate many of you who desire the more in-depth versions of meditation, but this is a form of meditation. Think of the thing in which you are doing, which gives you not only the greatest joy, but also the absence of mind of all other things. When you are painting, are you thinking of anything besides your painting? When you are driving upon the highway in your favorite car, do you think about anything else but driving? When you are listening to your favorite music or even creating new versions of music, are you thinking about anything else? When you are not, when you are in the moment so deeply, you are not just meditating, you are channeling that energy from your highest form. You are connecting upon that deepest level. There is a technique that Rob has given many human consciousnesses what he calls the closed eye technique, and although it did not originate from Rob, in his own perspective he had never heard, had never perceived, or never experienced another telling him to do this. It came strictly from his own intuition and higher guidance. When he was in the moment where his physical eyes were not needed, what occurred? He closed them. Even when he was listening to a television show, watching several children, eating or drinking, listening to his son, listening to music, whatever the format in front of him, he allowed his physical eyes to be closed. He did not focus upon breathing, he focused upon sound. That focus, meditation. Understanding and experiencing an entire new reality in a new way. That is meditation. That was the closed eye technique for Rob himself. Speaking to your highest parts of your consciousness is as easy as being resistant free in that moment. Allowing yourself to be yourself is a form of letting go and meditating. You can do all of these things very slowly, very shortly, or very quickly. The more that you practice any form of meditation, whether it be deep trance or closed eye technique or just doing your highest passion, that releases you from all of your other day-to-day experiences and aligns you with that deepest part of yourself, which in turn gives you opportunity to grow that part of you, that natural part of you. Being the most natural version of your own self is the way to continue to expand that energy. The more that you do this for 10 seconds at a time, collectively it starts adding up. And in one day, several hundred times of 1 second or 10 seconds turns into multiple minutes or hours. When you start doing it 10, 15 minutes at a time, collectively it starts adding up to hours per day. What occurs when you live in your naturalist vibration for hours within a day? You start living in that vibration in all of those things around you that seem tedious, negative, rushed, or attention being pulled upon you as you've expressed. Becomes less of that. It becomes more of your natural self. That vibration is meditation, channeling, and aligning, all within the same realms of what we are speaking of in this day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so this next one, this next question I'm going to ask because a lot of people, when they're going into meditation, especially if they're reading up on it or they go to take classes, many of the classes talk about the concepts of dropping the ego and releasing karma. I think it would be great if you could give us what your definition of ego and karma are, and any tools of meditation that has to do relating around what your ideas of what ego and karma are.
Yes, first of all, within the range and ideas of going through the definition of both karma and ego, we would express to you that although we have given definitions before, we find it pertinent to reiterate these concepts in perhaps a bit more of a deep way. First of all, when you are looking at the idea of ego, what this is compared to what most humans believe it is, in our perspective, is quite different. In fact, most humans perceive the ego as the part of them that is ugly, that is defensive, that is harmful, that is willing to fight and argue with others, that is so wrapped around within their own third chakra that nothing else matters. In our perspective, we see it much differently. We see that ego definition as a part of your own consciousness, a basic part that was installed within both your DNA and physical structure as a second density being. This is what most of you call instincts to animals. That is the ego portion of human consciousness, although the parts of your own personality can tie into your ego, most of the time the perspective and human definition of ego to ours is much different in that way. So looking at your ego, looking at the parts of you that have evolved from that very instinctive place, that very important part of your second density experience to keep you safe, has transmuted and melded within many generations, but the cause for this is quite different also than many humans believe. The reason for that transmutation and change of energy was due to the fact that your own DNA was manipulated and your evolution jumped quite exponentially. Human consciousness was along the lines of being 75% or so done with their second density of evolution, meaning almost 1/4 of being a second density being or an intelligent animal in your perspective still had to be done before the first manipulation of human DNA that turned you directly and instantaneously into a third density being occurred. The Anunnaki changing your DNA jump-started that part of your own self that was supposed to be the sense of self for humans, but ended up tying in to the instinctual protective mechanism that most humans now call the ego. And of course, the changing in your environment also played a part in the transmutation and transmitting of this new signal into something much different than what it was. Changing your own thought process on how to be controlled, that allowed your own safety mechanism to turn into your, perhaps as some humans would see it, distorted view of yourself. And from that distorted version or view of your own self came a great deal of pain and suffering within yourself. For instance, once you learned that you were being controlled by those that were called Anunnaki, that they were, in one word or another, enslaving your consciousness, desiring to program you as a being, that energy did not sit well within your animalistic part and that part of you that was the sense of self. So what did it do? It fought back, or it succumbs to the slavery mechanism. Eventually, all entities within the human collective gave in to that slavery, gave in to others deciding who they were and what they were for them. After the Anunnaki left, humans dealt with themselves in difficult ways into the second coming of the Anunnaki. Many of the entities came back to teach because those that were here manipulated the system and manipulated humans as a collective. Those other entities bring forward healing nature of teaching, upgrading certain parts of their DNA to give them more of their own mind back and free will back, even though there is still parts of it that was damaged from the experience of being human and being enslaved. They tried to give a great deal of expansion to human consciousness at that time. So now they are learning from these beings about new things, but there is still that part of them that is scared, that is defensive, that is the second density part of themselves bit in. So they go forward and they learn, and other races came and left doing similar things, either expanding their consciousness or trying to enslave them, until the ultimate program of what most humans call Draconian Empire, or those that are perceived as Alpha Draconian Reptilian Consciousness. They created a system upon the Earth Collective where all humans must work very difficultly and doing things that they do not wish to do, learning how to just listen to what you are told, accept what you are being told, and do not ask questions that are not pertinent to you doing what we suggest you do. That type of formatting truly created a large hiccup in the human consciousness. This is the part of you that feels so intact with some parts of the sense of self, but yet so disconnected with others, and always has you in that fight or flight mode. That is the human ego in full definition. The reason why we bring that full definition up is you need to understand how it plays a part of your entering a meditative state or trying to reconnect to the truest essence of yourself. And now we define karma. First of all, karma, in the way that most humans perceive it again, is not in alignment with our own definition. Most humans perceive the classical or textbook religious version of karma, that if I am doing something in this specific incarnation, that later I must pay for this, or if there are things that I have done in my previous incarnation, I will atone or pay for them in this moment. So, you have many humans walking through their incarnation, looking so deeply at their past they have forgotten to live in the moment. Why is this important? It also wraps into the concept of ego, because both the ego concept and the karma concept live within the third chakra of most humans who deeply believe in the standard human definition of both. As you look at karma in general, what we can tell you and what we have always told you is that in the moment is where all things are created. So, when you go through your teenage years being a hellion, or being someone who is a wild person, or wild child as you would call this, there are fears in the late 20s that I must atone for all the times I told the neighbor to go F themselves, or all the times I tipped over the garbage can next to the person living to me, and created fights between neighbors. So now I will have rowdy children in my own neighborhood telling me to F off and knocking over my garbage can. Some humans take this literally. Some take it in a more generalized sense, but many humans live and thrive in fear over the concept of karma. What we can tell you is that if you live in the moment, all moments behind you are no longer meaningful to your energy of creation. The only way that those previous moments can affect you in the now is first if you focus upon them, secondly if you believe that they will affect, or thirdly if you so strongly think that those energies in your past creates who you are and what you are now, then it will affect energetically and karmically, for lack of better terms, what occurs in this moment and all future moments. What we suggest to you is start only focusing upon the now moment. When you look into your future, do not look with your emotional body, do not look with your mental body. Place a small portion of that mental consciousness into your auric field and say, the future is only what I wish to plan for my next now moment, without expectations, without worries of how it will connect, or without worries of the outcome. In the past I do the same thing. I will look at the past and only look at it as a memory or a lesson that was taught to myself about what I am or what I am not. You can reference those past times and say that I no longer am that person who tells the neighbor to F off, therefore I use that as my lesson to no longer be in that vibration. But when you start feeling sorry for yourself or for the neighbor, when you start feeling bad about how your actions affected them, then you are now living in your past. And when you look in that future also, living in the future, Treb Bor Yit NE has given you all the definition that if you are a container of liquid and you are placing your thoughts and memories in the past, your emotions there and in the future, you are putting 1/4 of the gallon in front of you and behind you, and your worry of the now moment, relieving yourself of yet another 1/4 gallon, keeping only 1/4 of yourself in the now moment. No human is able to manifest with 1/4 of themselves. They must have all of themselves, or at least the majority of themselves in the now moment. Why is this, and why is the concept of ego important meditation? When you fear that you are something that is different, when you fear that you cannot truly be yourself, or when you fear that all of your previous or future activities will affect you, you are not able to be in that now moment and truly in alignment with yourself. See your ego for what it is. It is a manifestation of a protectionary version of yourself that can still be utilized in this day for positive means, as long as there is no fear attached. It is your sense of safety. And in the future, that same ego transmutes into your own individual sense of self amongst the collective in which you are. What that means is I am in a collective consciousness in a type 1 society. Therefore, my entire race sees our own individual selves as a part of one. We see ourselves as the same as humans. We see ourselves as the same as Yits. We see ourselves Pleaidian, Syrian, it does not matter. Any being, even those that are the most malevolent beings, we see ourselves as part of them. They are manifestations externally of ourselves. And when we see ourselves in an entire collective consciousness, connected verbally, emotionally, energetically, as most humans will start transmuting into, you can still be an individual being. I am Aridif. I am the only Aridif amongst my planet. I am the only one who experiences, thinks, and feels exactly what it is I do, yet all are accessible to my own memories and all have accessibility to my consciousness. So even though I am so deeply connected to all of the fellow Denebian consciousnesses, I am still my own self, and that is what your ego will evolve into as you grow. That is what your ego will evolve into as you expand yourself. Do not fear the ego. It is a part of you, and it is not the worst part of you. It is only the part of you that is still growing and seeing your individuality. We thank you for this.
Thank you so much, Aridif. It's
yes.
Beautiful. Well, this next question is going to be probably a little bit real and raw, because Rob and I feel very much this would help everyone. Many of us, we're already meditating, doing a lot of these things that we're already talking about, which basically means we're doing great already. But we've found ways to bypass and loopholes, and we often get questions about health and pains and things of that nature. For the example tonight, I'm going to use Rob and I, so as not to point anybody out in particular. As you know, we have found, a lot of our own loopholes for our spiritual growth. Very commonly we get asked, it can be a bit of a painful question, but we often get the question, why are we so fat? And of course, we've had our own, we're humans too. We've had our own traumas and reasons for why our bodies held it. It's not just about the food, but for whatever reason, we've on some level built a wall, not just energetically, but through the food. Other people might develop like a certain pain, like for instance, Rob recently injured his knee. I have had in the past, I used to have very severe acne, and I don't think it's really anybody's fault. We all, just it's part of the human experience to have these little discomforts, and I think we do a wonderful job bypassing through a lot of those discomforts and things. But for our health and our well-being, because we definitely want to reflect our inside and our outside, and sometimes these little human bodies, we're asking a lot of them. We're taking in all these multi-dimensional energies we're wanting to channel. We're bringing in very high vibrational beings. Sometimes it can be a lot. It's like putting a very high voltage energy into an older model car, not to make it sound less than. But what is it we can do to help, heal ourselves? I know sometimes it's about soul contracts or soul agreements that we have, but other times it's just little things, resistances.
Yes.
Excuse me, resistances and things that we're doing to ourselves. And I think probably 9 times out of 10, that's it. We're not just stuck with it. I mean, obviously, Rob and I, we could have the bodies of our dreams. And so I know Rob is with Treb right now, but I know we want to do whatever we can for everybody's growth, not just ours. So feel free, Aridif, to use us as an example. What kind of meditations and tools, when a person has something physical that there is a discomfort, or even something they might not, like about themselves, that they feel, why did I get this wart on my face, or something even as simple as that.
Yes.
All the way to, I got into a car accident and I can't walk anymore. It's so painful in my heart. Why? I know I sound like I'm probably talking in circles, but I think everybody here, and you get my idea of what I'm getting at. What kind of meditation and tools can we use to heal ourselves, and actually use it as an opportunity to learn, to grow and expand, to use it as a tool for evolution to a greater enlightenment? Thank you.
Yes, we understand. And first of all, we will not specifically use yourself or Rob as examples. We will speak in the most generic sense to all beings, because the answer to all beings, whether it is upon a specific nature or a more generic one, is all the same. When you are desiring to change your physical appearances, when you are desiring to create the essence of a different experience physically, it is all done through intent. Now, you are correct. Contractually, there are energies that some humans will never alleviate themselves from. For instance, when you are looking at those that are crippled from the birthing process, those entities carry the most high probabilities of holding on to those physical ailments for the entirety of their life. Those who have brain damage, or those who have broken their spines, those entities, for the majority, are in it for the long haul. But those who truly desire the change, and not for the reasons that they feel resistance or negativity, can change that experience. And when they are doing such a thing, they can change their experience in the most positive way. But when you are looking at the reason for the change, this is something that we find is most important to understand. The reason for the change, when it comes from a place of lacking, when it comes from a place of misery or fully disconnecting from yourself, that is where most of your manifestational questions or manifestational requests in the universe are not answered. Let us use an example. I wish that I had money because I am broke. I wish that I could create abundance because I am miserable in the energy of poor people abundance. I do not manifest well. I have never kept a job. I have never been able to work with others. I cannot live happily. Please create abundance for me. Right now, you have told the universe approximately 14 things that are wrong with you. You have told the universe that I am not worthy, I am not able, and I am not capable of creating. What happens when you send out the universe a message so strongly? You receive it back in great numbers or great energy. You receive it back because of your belief being so strongly held, the exact way you are sending it out. So in that essence, that person will never grow in abundance financially until they change their beliefs and mindsets. Physically, this is the same way. When you look at weight, for instance, as you use this as an example, I am unhealthy, I am fat, I do not wish to be fat, and I cannot change this. That is an energy that will not reflect. But when you say, I am healthy, I am loved, I do require the experience or do desire the experience for my physical body outside to show what is within, because I am the most beautiful person, then it can be reflected much more easily. When you throw negative connotations to the universe, it will give you those negative responses. When you ask the universe, please help me be skinny or rich, but you do it with great nerves and feelings about that being very unstable, then you get back that unstable energy as the answer of the universe. And we always express this as a question and answer, although it is more so a demand and reply. When you give those energies out that are unstable, wrapped around those negative belief systems, you will get those back. If we are not speaking of those who are contractually connected or who go through experiences that they need to learn something about themselves, such as, for example, your stay in the hospital for multiple days, although that was not you being bad or you being negative, it was meant for you to learn about yourself and your connection to your guides.
Yes.
That was a learning experience. So contractually or learning experiences aside, there are easy ways to work with your physical body through that level of pure intent. Again, throw away all resistant belief systems. Throw away all resistant perspectives of yourself or the energy in what you are trying to do, and simply utilize that intent. We suggest for those who are in their higher chakras more fluent, in their own third eye being much more open, having easy access to visualizations, to use the most powerful visualization techniques. For instance, when those say, I wish to lose weight, you show your own self to yourself in your third eye. You do this by utilizing a visualization that shows you sitting across from you. That person across from you is the entity that you ideally wish to be, the one who does not have a hurt leg, the one who is much skinnier, the one who is healthy in all ways, the one who is abundant financially. And then you perceive yourself in the way that you perceive yourself sitting in the chair that you are sitting in. And as you look out to that other entity, close your eyes in visualization. Think the thought process. Allow the intent to be clear. The person across from me and myself are not different. Then you visualize only one person in one chair. That is the amalgamation of both of you. That is you letting the visualization of what you are go, and letting you be what you desire to be. That alone, through visualization technique, can be extremely powerful. For those of you who are not inclined to utilize your third eye, or who feel you cannot, first of all, remind yourself that you can. Secondly, think of that visualization that we have expressed. You do not have to see it in your own mind's eye. Think of what it would look like in that thought. Even if you are not able to see the visualization, the powers, suggestion, energy, and intent behind it are strong enough to create. Now, for those of you who desire more practical ideas, simply being in alignment with those versions of you through your closed eye technique and repetitive thought process or self-mantras will also work. Using the old adages, I am what I am and I am beautiful. I am what I am and I am pain-free. I am what I am abundant. I am what I am skinny. I am. And then you express what it is you desire. That intent, the repetition, the mantra, the verbal inclinations, descriptions of what you desire are that easily achievable. Again, just as in all things we've expressed previously in this evening, doing it 1 minute out of the day, yes, it helps you go closer to that vibration. But the longer each day that you stay in a vibration where you feel that of what you are, will only gain access to the vibration of that energy because you are pulling it in closer to yourself. Remind yourself of this. Be that version. We also wish to express that in the concept of third eye, in the concept of those who visualize, utilizing different visualization symbols are also effective, whether it be for physical healing, channeling, or whatever other meditative technique you desire. Utilizing symbolism can be gratefully useful. For instance, those who perceive abundance as a stream of energy can perceive a fountain. If they visualize a fountain and know that that fountain means financial abundance, then closing their eyes and focusing on that fountain, feeling the energy of abundance behind the symbolism. That can also draw nearer and nearer to that vibration. Utilizing your third eye in many ways is helpful. Now, we will take one more question before disconnecting in this evening.
Yes. Thank you so much, Aridif. And so the final question for tonight's topic will be, I think, probably the most interesting to most of the collective here listening. And that is the meditation or tools for how to directly connect with our higher selves or our guides, be they angels, benevolent ETs, counterparts, hybrid children, loved ones who've crossed over, pets, whoever it is that is in your heart that you want to connect with. You know, when I say you, I mean those of us listening here.
Yes.
What is it that you recommend that we can do for a direct connection and direct connections that we can remember? Because remembering it has been the biggest thing, especially when it comes in the dream state. Even meditations will only remember bits and pieces.
Looking at this idea of connecting with those that you desire to connect to is much within alignment of what we've been expressing throughout the evening. There is no one size that fits all. There is no one perfect way to do one thing. These all are very individual concepts to each of you. So picking and choosing from the techniques that we have expressed within this evening for what best fits you can be useful. For instance, those who create within the visualization technique, what we suggest you to do is work upon visualizing what you believe the entity appears as or looks like physically. Another thing that we can suggest is utilizing any information that you are aware of. For instance, those of you who know Treb Bor Yit NE know that he is from Capella, that he works in the Yit Collective, what his physical appearance looks as, what the star within your sky appears as, and what the star configuration of his star system appears as. So when you start thinking about all of those details, you are able to visualize any combination or culmination of them. Rob utilized the version where he would focus in upon the star within the sky of the constellation. The Argai constellation then focus in upon Capella and zoom forward with his visualization. Then he would utilize the zooming in so far he could see all 4 stars that existed in the Capella system, knowing that it was the largest of the red dwarfs, would focus in towards that star, then knowing that it was the planet that is third in alignment, going to that planet, then going to the quadrant, then going further until he was able to see Treb Bor Yit NE, knowing that caused the connection, visualizing his own direct path to Treb Bor Yit NE, created a connection for him. Each of you have the ability to do this with the information you know, with the concepts that you are aware of. Those of you who do not know what your guide appears as, or the entity or energy you are trying to connect with, you do not have to. You can know the energy of symbols behind. For instance, the avian being who was spoken to in this evening through a different version or a different posting, a video concept. That entity expressed what it was that it appeared as physically, yes, but also the energy behind the symbols. For instance, when you are looking at the avian concept, a visualization of a bird would get you there. A visualization of flying would get you there. The totem pole energy or the power animal energy would get you there. All of those symbols are deeply embedded in the concepts of what you desire. Utilize them through visualization. Now, utilizing non-visualization techniques are also very easy to connect with. The thought process alone. What does this entity feel like emotionally, energetically, to myself? You know when you close your physical eyes what Treb Bor Yit NE feels like to you. When you hear his words spoken through Rob's body, You know what it sounds like to you. You know how it makes your heart and third chakra feel when he speaks to you. So if you desire to connect, close your eyes, re-feel the feeling. In the visualization, you are using your third eye and chakra field, but you are also using a part of your mental field to create that energy visually. With the emotion, you are using your emotional field with the energy of your aura, tapping into the version of you that feels as if you are similar to Treb Bor Yit NE. You are pulling in that part of your auric field that feels near to him and connected to him. All of these different parts of your energy you can utilize through intent, through visualization, and all of the other techniques that we have expressed. In general, when you are trying to connect to any energy, putting yourself next to that vibration is most important. If you want to connect to Treb Bor Yit NE, try to be more like Treb Bor Yit NE. This is how Rob connected to Treb Bor Yit NE. This is how Rob connected to myself after Treb Bor Yit NE. Once he became more in alignment with who Treb Bor Yit NE was, he was able to access him. When aligning himself more so to the version of me that Rob can be and is, then he became accessible to myself and vice versa. All of these energies to co-create with one another can be utilized. Follow your heart and your intuition. Respect the information and energy that you receive. Know that you are perfect in your intuition and your ability to connect, and that will get you there.
And a super quick follow-up, you said Rob was more like Treb Bor Yit NE, but before that he didn't know who Treb Bor Yit NE was, so many here are going to be trying to connect with beings that they kind of feel energetically, but they don't know who they are. So how will they know how to be like these beings if they don't know who they are directly?
Yes. Well before Rob connected to Treb Bor Yit NE, he felt Treb Bor Yit NE's presence. He felt a very large and very intense and loving energy. He felt a very kind and gentle being. Therefore Rob gained access to those portions of himself. It was not something that was intentional, but it is something that is easy enough to discern by trusting your intuition. So when Rob became able to connect more so to Treb Bor Yit NE and knew and experienced that connection, he utilized the vibration, the same vibration that he had been feeling. You yourself, intuitively and energetically, can understand the vibrations of your guides without knowing their name, their personality, where they come from, what dimension or what energy they go by.
Yes.
You know by being more of what you want to be able to be connecting to entities that are more in alignment with you.
Yes.
That is the trick if you are not tied down to an identity of a being.
Yes.
Yes, and we thank you for this.
Absolutely, and the thing that you had mentioned also, and many times in the past about the expectation, I just wanted to point out that Rob, his initial intention was to connect with beings that have already crossed over and maybe channel deceased humans. But he ended up getting Treb, but because he wasn't so intensely attached, he ended up getting an even more, what he feels for him, a more wonderful surprise, greater than I think he could have fathomed, and here we are today. And so I think that's what we all need to remember, so that we don't accidentally manifest some kind of miss out. And I know that sounds a little strong of a language to say, but
yes, we understand the energy behind this.
Yes.
We also wish to express by Rob's own words and admission that it was not so much the desire to contact those upon the other side as it was his enjoyment of the meditation itself, the vibration that the meditation allowed him to dive into, which became a larger part of himself, therefore manifesting into, sliding vibrationally into a lifestyle that was most fitting for the vibration of channeling and connecting to Treb Bor Yit NE's energy.
Beautiful.
Yes, we must express that. Through Rob's physical body, the knee is showing pain, so we must disconnect in this moment. But we wish to express to you all that we are grateful to have co-created with you in this evening, and that each and every one of you are not only loved, but we also love you all.
We love you, Aridif, so much. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And to Rob,
Yes.
even though your knee's in pain.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
We love you.
Yes, we love you also. We bid you adieu for this evening.
I do.
Thank you guys so much for supporting our Patreon. We love you guys with all of our heart. Whether you're here just this month checking it out or whether you're here every month, we love all of you guys for all the extra support that you're giving us. And this gives us the chance to exchange all the extra love and support. Keep your eyes peeled for special deals on events, special deals on all the other things. For those of you who are in the Patreon, you have the opportunity to get the Asheville workshop that's coming out October 7th, 8th, and 9th for much cheaper than the public's getting it. You're also going to have the opportunity to get the 2016 channel panel for 50% off. Keep your guys' eyes open for those deals, and they're going to keep coming. This support your guys have given us gives us the opportunity to keep expanding all of this information and work from the bottom of Kalina and mine heart. Thank you. We love you guys so much. Thank you all for your support here on Patreon. We will keep this type of unseen content coming your way. We love you guys with all our heart, Rob and Kalina. Come see our website, etwhisperer.com.